Uh, but yeah, so we had the SummerSlam this weekend,
Mm-hmm.
where some might say you should have been given the damn pencil, or you were trying to steal the pencil for the aftermath of SummerSlam. But we had a really good. I thought that this SummerSlam this weekend has to be probably one of the better SummerSlams that I can remember. I don't know if it was better than last year. I want to say yes, just because I liked the ending a lot and I really liked the Cody storyline.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that it's better. I'm gonna say that it was better. I'm gonna give an overall like a quick score. I'd say that this is probably this is a B plus for a core four show.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought that it was really good. What'd you think about it?
I thought it was good. I thought it started off well.
It definitely lulled,
Yeah, there was a lull.
and it was long. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, I liked I liked the opener. The Cody match was obviously awesome. Um, the Seth and Finn match, I thought we'll get into it a little bit more, but I thought it was very well done. Um, the ending's a little hokey, or not hokey, but a little overbooked for my taste. But I get it where they're going. They have a lot of story to get through
hmm.
there.
Apparently, bottom of the
Um,
third inning still.
yeah, yeah. So they say. Um, uh, the women's match. I thought it
Skipped
was
it.
good. No, I thought it was good.
Which one, the
I
triple
thought
threat or the Ronda match?
yeah, one of them was good. One of them had Ronda Rousey in it. Um, yeah, I wasn't really into the Ronda Rousey match. I thought the triple threat match was very good, well booked. I felt bad for Bianca to then win it, and then whatever, a minute or two later, Io cash
Yeah,
in. But I was happy for Io. That's really good for her.
and good for the
So I liked
SmackDown
it.
brand. That's what should have
Yeah,
happened on SmackDown.
yeah. Well, you still can't draw a damn dime, so whatever. Um, uh, and then the main event. I did watch the um Slim Jim Battle Royal.
Yeah.
Um, I thought it was okay. The right person won. And then interestingly, they had him come out on his opposite brand yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm cool with that because I don't watch SmackDown, so that's fine. Um, but I thought it all was really good. I saw a lot of people complaining about the ending of the Bloodline match. It was like, well, this is a swerve. They're running out of stuff to do.
I don't think so.
I kind of tend to agree with you on that. Like, it's
There's
something
plenty of
different
story
than
there
what you
left.
thought. Yeah,
There's plenty of meat left on that bone.
yeah. People, oh, they jumped the shark with it. Why don't
They
you
did
calm
not.
down? No, they didn't. So, yeah. Overall, I thought it was really good, and we have a couple high points here to talk about. But overall, yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was. I think you got it right. A B plus.
Yeah, I thought that it started off well with the Logan Paul match. I thought that was. I, I mean, now knowing that he was trying to get to Jake Paul's fight later on, and he just hopped the jet. I can see why they put him on first, and it made a lot of sense because you want a hot opener like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
really like that they gave Ricochet a spotlight, or like put him in a high profile match like that, because he's one of those guys that kind of felt like since he's been on the main roster, like one of those guys that's like been around and like kind of lost in the shuffle sometimes. And hopefully, like, this feud, and as well as it came off and as well as it played, that they're willing to give him more.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to a little bit of that when we get to the Raw review.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a
but
couple guys they're doing that for, and I really like to see it. So we'll talk about that when we get to Raw.
right. I thought that it was excellent. I thought that the little stuff that they did with adding Samantha into the mix, I thought that was
Mm-hmm.
creative, not
Yep.
overdone. You don't have to get her involved in any physicality. Like, let that part alone. I thought they did a good job of that, of not over. It's kind of like the beginning where it was not overbooked, but then you get to the end, and I don't think that the ending was overbooked. A lot of people will say that it's overbooked, but I don't think that it was.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
um But yeah, I really, really liked the match. I thought it was great. And I'm glad that makes sense. Logan Paul cheats to win. Um, but also could be a really good launching pad and like get good traction for Ricochet.
Right, because Logan Paul is still, I don't want to say an attraction because I don't think he's at that, like, there's attraction in that they only come in sometimes, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
attraction that they are so good that when they come back, like Brock is an attraction. Andre was an
Well,
attraction.
the thing about Logan Paul is that he's close. He's close to being an attraction because of what he does. It's
So I'm
because it's
gonna,
so unexpected that it's
yes,
so he's so good at it.
the shininess is gonna wear off if they don't manage that properly.
Yeah, I would
So
agree.
the way they're doing it right now, I agree that they're doing a good job because they're not using him too much.
Mm-hmm.
They're highlighting what he can do, and they're putting him with people who can shine that.
I
So they're doing a
totally
really good
agree.
job with him.
He, oh yeah,
And he's
absolutely.
working really hard. Like from a, you know, I don't like the persona of Logan Paul, like the internet guy, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you can tell he's putting in the work behind the scenes to actually take it seriously and do a good job. And I can
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, um, it comes off, it doesn't always come off perfectly with him. Like some of the promo work and stuff, you can tell he's trying and he knows what to say, but it doesn't feel 100% authentic. Like he just doesn't have the polish. But
Yeah.
for where he's at versus what the output is, I mean, you have to be someone who just doesn't want to like him to say that he's not doing a good job for, in context.
So I'll do a little plug here for Netflix. So you're welcome, Netflix. You can sponsor the Podski if you'd like. Um, they
That'll
did
be
their
350.
they they do the Untold series, and that just launched. And like the one that came out this week is the Johnny Manziel one. So the one
Mm-hmm.
that the season premiere was Jake Paul. And after watching that with Allison this weekend, even Allison turned babyface on him. Like I'm sure that was probably the whole gimmick to like help paint them in a better light, but like made them very likable. Both of them incredibly likable.
Mm,
So
very nice.
yeah, as long as they keep continuing to do what they're doing and doing it right, and I think that the one of the good parts about it is that who's in charge now, and we'll be getting even into that once we get to Raw. But
Yeah.
they're doing a really good job, and sky's the limit for the dude.
Yeah. I agree.
And then next we got into we had Cody and Brock,
Yep.
and I thought that the Cody and Brock video package, this might have the video packages for this show were so well done. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know who's running it over there right now, but they're absolutely killing it. The Seth and Finn one actually made me care about that match. Because like I
Mm-hmm.
mean, not that I didn't care before, but it got me really invested before the
Yep.
match. I was like, okay, now I want to watch this match. Like this not I was thinking about skipping it beforehand, but I was like, nope, I'm watching now.
Yeah.
And always the bloodline stuff is always so expertly done. Like it's so good. Like and then you get the Cody and Brock match, which felt like a typical Brock Lesnar match. He gets
Cody
in
bumped
there.
his ass off.
Oh yeah, totally bumped his ass off for the guy, and then like literally gets picked up like the smallest of hay bales and tossed over Brock's shoulder. Was really impressive.
Yeah.
But
And the stuff they did to like just the way it was worked and the storytelling in the match
yes,
of like it for all the people who were like, oh, he didn't earn the title last year, blah, 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 blah. They've been trying to do that. And it
yeah,
required taking an ass kicking to get these people to like get on board with it. So I don't agree with it, but I get it.
yeah,
This was one of the matches where you could say, okay, if you're going to say he didn't earn it, explain it in the context after this match because
yes,
like it was, I mean, let's be honest, most of the match was Brock, just
right,
tossing him around, telling him, don't get back in the ring, stay out there. He wouldn't stay out. He would come back in, get tossed back out, blah, 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 in and out, in and out. So the point was to get Cody's toughness over.
Mm-hmm.
because like you look and Cody's really in shape, and he's a professional athlete, but if you look at the difference, like you can tell there's a difference between a professional wrestler and like
Mm-hmm.
the alpha of our species. Like,
That
and that's
yes, that's the best way to explain Brock Lesnar.
he really is. Um, like nothing's happening in Brock's life if Brock doesn't want it to happen.
Right.
So like you look at those two men, and it's like one of these is clearly superior.
Right.
So the only way you could tell a reasonable story with that was Cody taking an ass whooping,
Mm-hmm.
and then in the context of WWE, which is choreographed or predetermined, however you want to explain it.
And damn it, it's still real to me.
It is still real to me. So I thought they did a good job coming to a way that Cody could win, and it would make sense in the world of pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And and especially at the end, which was unplanned.
Excellently done. That I popped to the moon when they did that.
I have so much more like respect and like for Brock.
Yeah.
He did not have to do that. He put over Cody very strong. If you look at like how this entire story went, he put him over so strong at so many different points.
Mm-hmm.
And then to do that at the end and kind of say, hey, this is the next guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that, and he also always had a rap for being somebody who not always the easiest to work with.
Yeah. He doesn't have to do Brock ain't gonna do anything he doesn't want to do. And right. if it's unplanned and he went out there to do it, then he truly believed it, and that's genuine. It felt genuine as well. Like
it did, and Cody's face, because he didn't know it was coming. He legitimately thought he's gonna get punched in the face. If you look at his face right when they first hugged, if you look at Cody's face, he looks scared to death.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of thing. Shit. What is about to happen? So, I'm gonna have to put on my shooter boots and see if I can get out of this. But no, it was, as a Cody fan, obviously I'm biased, but I thought it was the best match on the card.
Yes, as big Cody marks as we are here tonight, this show, that's exactly what you want. And that is just even more cementing and furthering the story, and exactly what Andretti and I had said from the beginning when we left WrestleMania Night 2, literally left the building and recorded that they want Cody to earn it. And it was too easy of a story for him to just walk into WrestleMania as number 30 in the Rumble and win it. It's way too easy. So
no, it wasn't, but whatever.
Yeah, I know. But it was way too easy of a story for him. He's got to earn it this year. And I think that this still cements him as he's going to be pinned into the Royal Rumble as number 1 entrant, and he's going to go through all 30 and he's going to win it. And then that's how they finish the story, because he's going to earn it that way. It's going to be a hell of a ride if that's the way that it plays out, and all signs are still leading that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Are they listening to our damn booking? I feel like they are, because we've said so many things on here that have happened. If you're not listening to the Podski, please go back to the archives, because a lot of things that have happened already this year have been straight from our mouths. Now, I'm not saying that they're listening to the Podski, but I'm saying I'm not saying they're not.
Michael Hayes, in his drive to work every day, him and Denzel are listening up to the Podski.
I'm just saying, a lot of stuff that we've been talking about on here, and we're not talking about like we've been cultivating this over time. Like, these are things that we said right after WrestleMania.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I thought that the handshake was excellently done. Brock didn't have to do that, and that just cements Cody as like the next guy, and he earned it. And I thought it was fantastic. But yeah, the next thing that I wanted to talk about was this Slim Jim Battle Royal. I thought that video package leading into it with Macho Man, just thank you, whoever did that. Like, thank you. It just put me right back in the feels. It was perfect. I loved it.
I like that they're putting in a variety of people.
Yeah.
In that role. So like Bianca, LA Knight.
Uh,
Who was the other one?
and there's nobody better to put in that role than LA Knight right now.
Agreed. He is just en fuego.
Oh, so in fuego. Not as
Absolutely.
in fuego as a red flame, but I
No,
digress.
he can't get that kind of chafing. So
I really honestly think that like they wanted LA Knight to win so badly at Money in the Bank that if they did not, like if he did not win this battle royal, I literally thought they were going to tear that building apart, which is what I
they
said at
also
WrestleMania 39 this year too.
right. It was also interesting. And I suspect it's not a coincidence that he is in that Slim Jim marketing. And the is oddly similar to the
Oh
Macho Man. Oh
yeah.
yeah. So there you go. I I am not surprised that he won. I'm glad. I like him. I'm for him. So I'm not complaining. It's just you can tell that there was both a marketing reason and okay, this also makes the fans happy reason. So
Yeah, and then after that, I thought that the next one that I really want to talk about too is this Finn and Seth match. I felt like that, and like I had mentioned earlier, that match, like I wasn't too overly thrilled about it, but it's like the new title that really kind of helps me stay with it, and the fact that Seth is somebody that I've really come around on in the last 9 months or so.
mhm.
But the video package, man, they really sucked me in with that, and that's another great job. I just feel like without the video packages for this show, like I feel like it's not as good, and I felt like it was just like a really really well done job. And they're just building more and more towards a Judgment Day breakup, and
Mhm.
um, I really like how they're building Damian Priest
Yeah, 100%.
because Damian
100%.
Priest is like a guy that like I've watched for a long time. I remember whenever he was Punishment Martinez in ROH, and like the dude was like hella awesome, and he is
Mhm.
awesome still as Damian Priest. But I want to see that guy get a little bit of a rocket strap. Maybe not win the world title. Maybe that's something that like. Well, I guess he can cash it in. He doesn't need to do it on Roman, but if he does it on Seth or whoever is going to be the champion in the future, I'm cool with it, but I don't think he needs to be the guy taking it from Roman.
No, no, he's not going to take it from Roman. He's going to take it from whoever. I honestly, I think he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the next guy after Seth.
And that makes sense.
Because so here's me and my hashtag tea leaves. Um, a new shirt at
A new shirt at
AllisonRules.com.
AllisonRules.com. Yes.
um, I think the Judgment Day, what's going to happen with them, this is my guess, based on the way they kind of came out last night at Raw. I think he's getting kicked out of Judgment Day. I
Okay.
think the other three are going to stay together, and maybe they add JD McDonough because that's what they were kind of doing with that JD McDonough thing. Like he was hanging out with Finn.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking he's gonna join, and then JD McDonough is gonna join. Damian Priest comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they get him away. There's a built-in feud there, and then after that's done, then comes okay, we're gonna push him towards Seth,
Okay.
or maybe
Yeah.
they do it as a complete surprise, like at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm not
That
sure,
would be that would be
but
cool if they did, like if somebody cashed in on Seth, like Seth cashed in on Brock. That's like really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and I think that like the Judgment Day, even without Priest, still has legs. And
Oh yeah, I think
if
so
you bring
too.
in McDonough, that adds a new wrinkle. You take Priest out, who I think is ready at least for a look at the main event scene.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, how much TV time has over the last year have they gotten? And
Oh my
him
gosh, they got
especially.
so much
They come
TV
out
time.
2-3 times at least a Raw. So
Yeah.
um that's my guess is he exits the faction, they add McDonough, and then there's some kind of rivalry in there, and that kind of preps him. That kind of preps um, uh,
I feel like that would really
Priest to
hurt
Priest.
the Judgment Day though, because they would lose like their big heater. Like they wouldn't have a big guy anymore. They would be all little guys. Like it would be
But
two
I
little
don't. I
guys.
don't necessarily think that the the quote unquote threat from them isn't him being big. It's them being a group.
Well, that too, yes. Strength in
So
numbers.
I don't, because they don't, for him being as big as he is, they don't play up how big he is as much
Well,
as they
yeah,
do
you're right.
that it's a group that runs Monday Night Raw, that they stay together and they work as a team. So not to say that your idea doesn't have merit. That's not. It's just I think that it would still be okay without a heater in that
Mm-hmm.
way, and it would continue to elevate Dom, and it would begin to elevate JD McDonough.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're
So
wrong. I like
yeah,
the I like the idea. I can't even. When did McDonough even get called up? Was it like during the draft?
at the draft,
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
and they started him with Ziggler, and it was a wet fart. Um,
Well,
and then they gave him like a month off to reset. So
eh.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, like get the guy into something where he gets some legs and he gets out there into the eye, and then yeah, I don't disagree with you on that.
yeah. No, it's a good spot. He can be hidden when he needs to be hidden, so he can work on stuff that he needs to work on. I think it's a win-win to put him in there. So
Yeah. But the other thing that I have here about this match is that it felt like it felt like a nice cap to the rivalry.
mm-hmm.
And they had it like Finn and Seth have gone for a while now. And this felt like a nice little bow on their rivalry for them to move on to do something else.
Yeah, it was time.
Yeah.
So
Um, and yeah, and then we got to talk about the main event, Roman and Jay. This match, this is what has been said by, you know, Mongoose, Andretti. Anytime we come on and we talk about the bloodline after a pay-per-view, it's the same thing. The first 20 minutes of the match does not mean a damn thing. You do not have to watch the first 20 minutes. Now, the last 15 to 20 minutes, you need to it's must see TV, because you don't know what's going to happen. And when you do know something is going to happen, it's so well done that you don't even care that you already know the outcome.
mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
I just think that, you know, a very typical WWE match. The other thing that I thought was really interesting about this, and the tea leaves, a shirt at AllisonRules.com,
Hashtag tea leaves.
hashtag tea leaves, was the Roman spear on Solo, and then
Mm-hmm.
Solo standing over him like, how could you do this to me? I thought that that was expertly done. Solo has he's like a top prospect for the brand right now. Like he is gonna be something for the future. He's awesome. Didn't understand the direction of where he was in the beginning, but he's come a long way in a short amount of time. And that's because he's out there with like the legitimate best in the business. So that definitely
Right.
helps. But
Right.
the dude is like hitting home run after home run. He's doing it all. Um
And
the
it's
other
interesting too, because like, yeah, they are home runs, but
Yeah,
it's not outside of his wheelhouse.
no. And
Huh.
I think that the big catalyst in all of that too is that it's always with Roman. He's never
Mm-hmm.
doing these things without him. And now this could be a chance to see like what can Solo do without Roman? Like, is he as good as what we think he is? So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I'm not.
they're not going to throw him
I'm
out to the wolves just yet, but they're gonna.
no.
He's been a big part of the story ever since the build to WrestleMania, and with the whole thing with Cody and how like Cody said like you haven't earned it yet or you haven't done it yet, and then Solo costs Cody at Mania. Like that's still a huge part of the story for Cody, is that he's never gotten it back on Solo. So Solo is still the catalyst of the story here, and he's been the untouchable in the story, and now like you've kind of seen where like there's cracks and chinks in the armor for Solo isn't as attached to Roman as what Roman thinks he is.
Yes. And it will be super interesting to see post Bloodline how
Yeah.
all that works. Because like
We don't have to worry about that for a long time, I don't think.
well, yeah, they say it's the third inning, so whatever.
I mean, how many outs do you get in an inning? But they gotta. I mean,
I don't know with the way the fan base reacted to the finish. They might want to maybe not do quite so much hokey overbookedness. Not that I thought it was overbooked, but a lot of people thought it was, and it was like didn't make sense. And I'm like, I don't know that it doesn't make sense. I don't necessarily agree with that, but there was people online and then fans who are only AEW fans were also up in arms about that. Oh my god, they're not creative anymore. They should have paid it off.
I don't understand how that's not creative. Like we're big AEW marks on here too, but like at the same point, like they're in the middle of the story. There's not like they've been teasing this, and the one point that I really wanted to make here is that Jay already turned on Jimmy, and Jimmy had to convince Jay to come back to the bloodline, and then they broke apart, and then it's just they're never on the same page. They're always one is always over here, the other one's always over here. They're never on the same page. The only time they were on the same page is whenever they were going into WrestleMania, and it costed them the match because they didn't have Roman there. So
I think what it comes down to is people are looking at something in a vacuum, and that's a natural reaction to things.
Right.
So I get it. They go, oh, well, he was they're brothers. They were just fine like 20 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden, blah, blah, blah. But like, and I don't always like the excuse of, okay, you need to wait and see what they're going to say. But waiting 5-6 days to the next SmackDown to see how the story continues is not a big ask.
I don't feel like that's a big ass either. That's one thing that's like really frustrating. And I get caught up in this too as a fan. I get caught up in the fact that like I want immediate results, like all of us do. But it's this storyline is so refreshing, and it's such a big hit because you don't have to have immediate reaction or results every single time. And they're starting to get to the point where this has been going for so long now that like, yeah, there's going to be some people that are going to start speaking out about it, and it's going to get a little loud. And especially if there's like if they walk into Survivor Series and they do something real very similar to what they've done the last 3 pay-per-views, which is like the same thing every time. It's a 20-minute throwaway, and then the last 25 to 30 minutes is all you need to know for the next build to the next pay-per-view. That's just typical WWE. Like, I don't know what more you want. Like that's what you signed up for. That's what you expect to see from WWE. They are telling a story. It's all about the entertainment. It's about the moment. That's what it is. Like, you're not going to get anything different. So people thinking that WWE have like changed or lost it, like they haven't changed. They're just doing what they do best. And
and it's not always good.
It's not always good, but this ended up they caught lightning in a bottle. They got super lucky in the fact that they had Sammy, and not that Sammy was the driving force behind it, but he definitely added like a certain
6 months.
He added 6 months to the storyline that they never had planned in the first place. And then you have somebody in Roman who everyone's wanted to hate and wanted to like, and they wanted him to turn heel. He turns heel, and that you give the people what they want finally, and it's good and it makes sense. And so now you're just toying back and forth. It's always been about Roman and Jay back and forth. It's what the beginning of the storyline was, and it's what it's always been. So it's going to keep going back and forth between those two.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they eventually wrap it up, and
it will be. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be a squeaky clean, coherent storyline that I think that everybody wants it to be.
Well, and they don't seem to want to fold it all at once.
It's going to go over time. It's going to fade out.
It's been a slow tapering of.
It's going to be like
the guys
all
leaving.
No, right. It's going to be what all those big factions were.
Right.
DX. It was Triple H leaving. Now the army stuck together and they didn't do shit for a long time and then they fizzled out. Like Evolution. It was Batista first they kicked out Randy Orton, they kept it going for another year and then they built a Batista facing off against Triple H and then it fizzled out at WrestleMania. Now like to say that like they weren't successful after that is beyond madness. Like they were all successful. Right. That's like one of the best factions of all time, but like that's the story that Triple H loves to tell. It's a story you're going to get. There's going to be one person that leaves and it's just going to fade away. You're going to forget about it. And then at some point, they're going to all come back together like 5 years down the road and we're all going to rejoice.
And I think like the nail in the coffin is going to be Roman dropping. Like that's going to be the final thing.
I don't know if it'll be Roman dropping. I think it'll be Heyman leaving.
Well,
Roman.
I think
Roman will have to, or Roman leaving Heyman.
I think they're concurrent things. I think he drops. Like they're gonna build up if it's going towards Cody, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing and Cody will start to plant seeds, like he started to plant seeds before WrestleMania.
Yeah. They'll do like what a Big Show Lesnar deal from those SmackDown in the early 2000s where Heyman does the double turn in the ring. Yeah, that would make sense. Like what he did with Lesnar.
Yeah, I don't think he will do. I don't think they will muddy a finish with Heyman being the reason Roman loses.
Yes.
But I think when Roman loses, Heyman will then leave. And if that's an immediate thing or if it's the next day or whatever. But I also think that when Roman finishes up this story, he's going to go away for a while.
Oh yeah, I mean he's already gone. Rumor on the street is that he got hurt during the match this week too. Yeah. So I mean he doesn't wrestle a lot anyways. He's the attraction, so that's okay.
Right, he is. Yeah. So I'm not mad at that. But I think he goes away. The focus shifts to whoever won, that sort of thing. So I think when Roman loses, that's going to be the bookmark period end of it for the bloodline at like this run of the bloodline. They might come back together later or for, a program later on or bits and pieces of them. But
yeah,
they're not whatever's left by the time they get to WrestleMania, presumably that will be the finish. I think that's a good way to go. And I hope that's what happens, because like you were saying about how they just kind of let them trail off and finish. I don't necessarily know that that's a good way to finish something.
No, I don't think it is either, but that seems to be the way that they go. Like with the Shield, when the Shield broke up, Seth was the first one to go. And then they it's not like Roman and him stayed together. They just kind of drifted apart slowly.
And so here's my point to that. When they talk about the end of the Shield, what is the moment that's always brought up? What is the video you always see?
Yeah, it's whenever the person leaves. The first person leaves when Seth hits the chair.
It's a moment making business. They're gonna lean on that moment.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right.
That moment at presumably WrestleMania when he drops it to presumably Cody, please, dear Lord, do that. I think that's going to be.
Please do it for us because we're going to be there.
I swear to God,
I can't go to back-to-back WrestleManias and not see Cody win the championship.
I said it in the group chat. I will throw a battery. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Do not test me. I will get the Rayovacs out. Someone is getting hit in the face with a battery. Okay. Bet. Big nose Paul, you and this D cell are about to have a Royal Rumble. Okay.
Yeah, I know, I agree. But and it's funny that we're talking about Paul a lot because my last little notes here on Paul is that if you see that still, and you'll see the still if you're watching this on YouTube, it's the thumbnail for the show. And if you see this on Spotify as well, the thumbnail and the artwork for the show is like whenever Jimmy is standing over Jay, whenever he put him through the table, and like it's Heyman standing on the steps looking past Jimmy at Jay, like that devilish look, like I got you. And then when they pan back into Roman, Roman doesn't know what happened. And it's
Yeah.
like, how much behind the scenes string pulling is the wise man doing here? It's another
Right.
thing to think about as well.
True. Very true.
But yeah, that's a bow on SummerSlam. I thought it was, again, I thought it was a B plus show. I thought it was a pretty good show.
Hmm.
Um, didn't have the big moment of like, Brock driving a tractor to the ring and flipping it like he did last year. But as much as I love that moment, but I thought it was a really good SummerSlam nonetheless, even though it felt like it took a little bit long.
Agreed. Agreed. I thought it was very good.